Man. First off, let me go ahead and take a sip of this lemonade because we ain't got the tea today, baby. We beehive. We got the lemonade. Hold up. Let me go ahead and give you a dramatic slurp. Ah. Baby, it's one of those. It's one of those today. Definitely one of those today. So if you guys have not been here before, welcome back. If you have been here before, it's your boy Alex P, King of Sin City, Mr. 702, the GOAT, the CEO, and the voice of Las Vegas, Nevada. And this is King of Vegas podcast episode 2. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. It's definitely going to be one of those. You know what I'm saying? Today we're going to talk about the new docuseries that just came out and I watched on Max, called Quiet on Set Season 1. Now, Quiet on Set Season 1 is basically a docuseries about these child stars. Well, at least Season 1 is. It's about these child stars that grew up on Nickelodeon. And they're basically just exposing and telling their sides of the story, these child stars, of what happened behind the scenes while they were filming during Nickelodeon. And before we go ahead and get started, I just want to say that this is not going to be an episode where I'm going to be telling anybody's story. I'm not going to be analyzing anybody's story. People have told their truth. People have told their truth and have done so rightfully so. And I believe that that's just where it needs to end there. You know what I mean? I feel like if you guys want to go ahead and see what it's all about, go ahead and check it out on Max and ID. I believe it's Discovery ID or just ID, but it's definitely on Max. Quiet on Set Season 1. There's 3 or 4 episodes, and man, you really are in for a take. And in the beginning, it starts off letting you know that if you grew up loving Nickelodeon, man, this is going to ruin your childhood. Definitely going to ruin your childhood. And it just put things in a different perspective for me. It definitely did. And I definitely want to talk about this one thing right here. Every story that we've heard was obviously tragic, and I don't think that we need to compare or put them on different types of levels. But the stories that were shared that ended up in sexual abuse, man, they all have one thing in common that I noticed. And that one thing in common would be that, I don't want to say abandoned, but the parents put their guard down. And right when the parents put their guard down is when certain situations and certain things took a turn for the absolute worst for these children. Now, there were several stories told. We got to hear the story of Amanda Bynes. Now, we didn't get to hear any story from Amanda Bynes herself. Now, this all, I guess, would be allegedly on her behalf. But we did get to hear from her coworkers, from producers, the cast and crew of The Amanda Show, of all that, of how she was and what they experienced and what they've noticed about Amanda's experience while they were on set themselves. I really wish that we could have gotten to know and gotten to speak with Amanda, and or I wish she would have got to speak with us. It's interesting because she's definitely one of the biggest stars to come from Nickelodeon, and how things ended out. So how things are going. I don't want to say ended out because we don't know what tomorrow brings. Things could take a positive turn for Amanda. And I don't really know how things are going for her now. Things could be going great and she could just be like, mind your business. I don't really want to be bothered or bother you guys with anything. But I wish we could have heard her story from her and not from everybody else. You know what I'm saying? We got to hear from Amanda Bynes. Now, another story that we got to hear was Drake Bell's story. And we actually got to hear Drake Bell's story from Drake Bell himself. And they actually promoted his story as like the big mystery of the series of season 1. I think it's interesting because Not saying like Drake Bell and Amanda Bynes are on the same level. I'm not comparing their success in any way, but those two are definitely are, especially during their time, like the early 2000s, they were like the biggest stars from Nickelodeon. I would say arguably the biggest male and the biggest female actors on the Nickelodeon network, period, throughout the 2000s. Um, and honestly, I don't think that there's been a boy or any actor from the Nickelodeon scene that ever got to be as famous as Drake Bell during their respective run or era on Nickelodeon. We could say before Drake Bell, Keenan and Kel were the stars. They came out on the Amanda Show. I mean, on All That, and ended up going and having their own show called Keenan and Kel. And they actually got to work with Amanda Bynes, is what I was going to say, who ended up getting her own show called The Amanda Show, which where Drake Bell actually got his start off on. Him and Josh Peck were both co-stars on The Amanda Show. And there was a scene where, I remember that scene where like a piece of shrimp falls from the sky and Drake and Josh are fighting over this piece of shrimp. And they said that at that moment during that scene, while they were filming that someone told Dan Schneider, you need to make a show for those two boys. And if you do, it's going to be big. And boy, were they not wrong, because Drake and Josh was arguably one of the biggest Nickelodeon shows of all time. I would have to say probably until iCarly came around. And iCarly, Miranda Cosgrove was on Drake and Josh. So it just kind of all falls into place, you know, in the Nickelodeon world. But the thing about Drake Bell, we got to hear his story from himself, and it gives me the chills, man. It definitely gives me the chills to know that what he had went through. And I kind of want to backtrack into what I was saying. It starts with the one thing that every story had in common was when the parents put their guard down. Now, during the beginning of Drake Bell's career, he went ahead and shared himself that his father was actually the manager and in charge of his career, all the way up until his sexual abuser, Mr. Peck, not Josh. And by the way, Mr. Peck was a producer. I don't remember his first name, and I don't care to. He's not that important to remember. But he has no relation to Josh Peck. When I heard the last name Peck, I automatically was curious as to know if he had any type of link with Josh Peck, and he doesn't at all. Two completely different families, two completely different people, just with the same last name. But the one thing that I noticed was Drake Bell let us know that Mr. Peck sexually abused him, and he got the opportunity to sexually abuse him when his mother put her guard down. And in the beginning of Drake's time on Nickelodeon, Drake's dad said, there's something about Mr. Peck that makes me uncomfortable. He's around my boy too much. He touches my boy too much. He's just too comfortable. And he went ahead and addressed the people of Nickelodeon about this issue, and they kind of just brushed him off and told him, well, Mr. Peck is a gay man. You must be homophobic, Mr. Bell, and you must not know that that's just how gay people are. They're very touchy. They're very this. They're very that. That really made me sick. As a queer man myself, that really, really just upsetted me, because that's like a big reason why in our community, well, this is going to be kind of, let me get my lemonade, because this is going to be a separate kind of conversation for today's episode. So not so much today, but especially during the time, like late 90s, early 2000s was like the super peak, but also like the end of the era of like being able to discriminate people and stereotype and be like, I don't know, just like point the finger and stereotype people in like the biggest way, and like we couldn't really say nothing or do nothing, or defend ourselves, or we would be the problem. And within like I don't know, like before the 2010s, within the LGBTQ community, gay men were always like put in the category as like pedophiles and stuff. And I don't know why. It pisses me off to this day. I believe it's because people who were touched by grown men while they were children, they confuse that with gay sex, and that's not gay sex. That's not a gay man touching you. That is a fucking child molester and a predator, and that has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. But the reason why I say that is because Mr. Peck, allegedly, he was like open about his sexuality, saying that he was a gay man. Obviously, everybody on Nickelodeon was aware that he was a gay man. And the fact that his dumbass was also a child predator pisses me off, because now anytime somebody wants to argue that that type of behavior happens in the LGBTQ community, they could point to him and use him as an example. And that pisses me off, because that has nothing to do, because it's just like within the LGBTQ community, if one messes up, everybody gets looked at. It messes it up for everybody. And that's just, I don't mean, in 2024, we're kind of not that way anymore. We still got a long way to go. Nowadays, we kind of hold people accountable for their own actions, as we've always should have. But especially during that time, it was kind of like, yeah, people were really, really judgmental and would just discriminate the LGBTQ community in that type of way. And the fact that this man is like just was the stereotype pisses me off. That's just a side note, super side note. So in the beginning of Drake's experience on Nickelodeon, Mr. Bell himself, Drake's dad, was the manager and in charge of Drake Bell's career. Like I said, he went and told Nickelodeon that Mr. Peck is a weirdo. He keeps doing weird things with my son and I don't like it. And they brushed him off and told Mr. Bell that he's homophobic because Mr. Peck is a gay man. And Mr. Bell ended up being right. You know what I mean? But Mr. Peck ended up being super manipulative and like really getting into Drake's life as, you know, he started kind of like getting more famous and like started, you know, just like getting at the point where he was receiving more opportunities, right? And I believe that this was before Drake and Josh, or it might have been like during the first season of Drake and Josh when this happened, but I'm not really too sure about that part. But I do know that Mr. Peck ended up convincing Drake that his dad doesn't need to be his manager anymore. So Drake ended up being convinced to fire his dad as a manager. And his dad told his mom, because his mom became the manager at this point, do not let Drake ever be alone with Mr. Peck. Drake Bell's dad told Drake's mom, do not let Drake be alone with that man. That man is bad news. And what did the mom do? She let her guard down. And Drake had said on the TV series that his mom would like not want to drive him to auditions because it's too far, or like she just wasn't into it, right? So, and I'm not blaming the mom, but I'm not saying I'm not blaming the mom. But the mom would like have Drake go stay the night at Mr. Peck's house and stuff. And that's when he ended up getting sexually abused by Mr. Peck. The moment the guard was let down, Mr. Peck came in and sexually abused Drake Bell because Drake Bell's mom let her guard down. Now, I don't apologize for my opinion. If Drake Bell sees this, I would love to have a conversation with you. Maybe you could educate me and let me know maybe your mother did have some more, maybe she was a little bit more concerned about your safety. But from the way it was edited on the show, it just seemed like his mama didn't give a fuck. It seemed like his mom didn't give a fuck. And the worst part is when Drake told his dad that Mr. Peck went to jail for, you know, touching little kids, Drake's dad didn't know that he got arrested because he touched Drake. And Drake's dad said, well, I'm glad he didn't get you. I don't know how long he didn't know. But he expressed his feelings of when he found out on the show. Mr. Bell did talk on the series. And I just want to give a round of applause to him because he truly, you could just tell, truly was and is a great father to Drake Bell. Truly a great protective father. And they thought he was crazy because he was aware. They thought he was crazy because he was aware of exactly what was going on. And that's another pattern that I noticed. A lot of the parents that did speak on behalf of their children's experience, the ones that knew something was going on and would say, hey, this is not right. This doesn't feel right. They were the ones that were told they were the problem. They were being convinced that all this behavior is normal. Some of them didn't fall for the bait, but the majority of them did. Now, there's another story that went ahead and was told, not by the person, but by the mother of this child actor. Her name was Brandy, and I believe that she guest starred on either All That or The Amanda Show. It was one of the sketch comedy shows at the time. And like I said, I don't know too much because Brandy didn't tell the story herself. Her mother told the story. And from what the mother said, one of the producers on the Nickelodeon shows ended up emailing the daughter a dirty picture of him masturbating. And sorry, you guys, this makes my stomach hurt. And the mother didn't call the police. The mother didn't do anything about it. Sorry, it's uncomfortable, but the mother said she didn't want to be looked at as a bad mother. But the moment that you knew that something was going on, you didn't do anything. You didn't take action. You ignored the problem and tried to act like it never happened and just tried to keep your daughter away from that man. But what you don't realize what you did was all the children that he was harming at the time. Your daughter wasn't the only victim, because they ended up finding tons of pictures with tons of children's names on them in that man's house. And I don't know how long she kept that secret in, but it just hurts my stomach to know that she could have stopped it all. And she didn't, because she was worried about people judging her. And I judged her. I am judging her because she allowed this grown ass man to email back and forth with her not even a teenage daughter yet. She wasn't even a teenager yet. Then the mama wanted to give the white lady tears and victimize herself. That's interesting to me. It's very, very interesting to me. What I want to know is why? Money? Because all these acts weren't a secret. Nickelodeon can act like they didn't know now, but is the fame, is the opportunities that you're scared to not have and don't even have yet, is the money, is all of that really worth is it really worth not protecting these children? Is it really worth it? Seriously? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm 28 years old, just turned 28 in February of this year. I've been trying to make it since I was 15. I've done every singing competition show where I've tried to, never made it too far. I've auditioned for shows. I've done it all. And I never, I just been one of the few that never got a chance. So I think to myself, what if I made it? What would I have experienced? You know what I mean? Like, you can't help but to like think of that, because we all wanted to be a Zach and a Cody, a Keaton and Kel, a Drake and a Josh. We all wanted to be Miley Stewart, an Alex Russo, a Raven Baxter. We all wanted to be these people growing up. Us millennials, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon were our everything, our entertainment. And to know that, like, this is what was going on, man. So, a couple stars that were previously on the Nickelodeon network have spoken out about this whole entire thing. Melissa Joan Hart, who is most famously known for her role as Sabrina Spellman on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which was on the ABC Thank God It's Friday lineup. And, you just had to be there to remember that. That was a crazy lineup. If you guys remember the TGIF lineup, you're definitely lit. But before she was Sabrina Spellman, she got to be this girl named Clarissa on the Nickelodeon TV show Clarissa Explains It All. Now, this show was kind of one of the, like, first shows to truly launch, like, officially the Nickelodeon network, because like before that show, Nickelodeon was like kind of looked at as like lame as hell, but once that show came on, it like skyrocketed, and then all the shows that we grew up loving came after that. But she spoke and let it be known that her experience was different. She didn't really have as negative as an experience as everybody else, and it kind of pisses me off because everybody was coming at her for not being traumatized and not just having a negative experience. And she wasn't saying like everybody's lying. She wasn't trying to downplay everybody else's experience. She was just saying like, damn, it's crazy. I had, not too bad of a time. So to hear that people were not having the best time ever, that's really, really crazy. Another person that went ahead and talked was Keenan from Keaton and Kel. He went ahead and let it be known that it just like breaks his heart to hear what's going on and what had went on the set of Nickelodeon. And he said that a lot of the things and a lot of the shows that he realized where things were going on happened after he left Nickelodeon. So it's just crazy to me, you guys. I think what I noticed, things took a turn when they went from Nickelodeon Orlando to Nickelodeon in Hollywood. Once they moved to Nickelodeon in Hollywood, everything kind of just started like getting really demonish and devilish. You know what I mean? So, bitch, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm excited for season 2. They definitely have to do a season 2. I definitely know for a fact that they're probably going to do Disney Channel next. I mean, they have to. But I don't know. Disney Channel, they be making them people sign NDAs. They be like, y'all ain't talking about nothing. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. I definitely would like to hear Orlando Brown's story. I would definitely like to hear Raven-Symoné's story. I would like to hear Shia LaBeouf's story. So many other people on Disney Channel that I would like to hear their experience. There's also a lot of people on the Nickelodeon network that I wonder why they didn't come on. You know what I mean? I would love to hear Ariana Grande's story. Like if she sat down and was a part of the on-set season 1, I don't know. I think it would have been even crazier. You know what I mean? And they showed some clips of the, I don't know who, the people who are in charge of like creating on Victorious. They made her do some really weird stuff. And it's just so interesting because like you look back on the behind the scenes footage and like when Dan Schneider's walking up to everybody with those cameras, everybody looks so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I don't know. You guys got to let me know what you guys think of the documentary. So let me know what you guys think. Did you guys watch the documentary series? If not, go ahead and check it out on Max. Quiet on Set. It's crazy. I'm excited for season 2. They definitely have to do a season 2. I definitely would like to see season 2 do Disney Channel. If they don't do Disney Channel, I definitely want to hear the child stars in the music industry. The music industry, baby, that's different. That's a whole different ball game. I used to think Hollywood, the music industry, and Nickelodeon, Disney, I used to think it was all just one thing, but they're kind of like different levels of fucked up. You know what I mean? But I definitely would like to hear the stories of like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, JoJo, so many more. I would love to hear Janet Jackson's story. The music industry would be crazy. But go ahead and make sure you guys comment, rate, subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms at King of Vegas Podcast. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I get us up on all your favorite podcast platforms very, very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Like I said, today I wasn't going to get into all the drama. I just kind of wanted to talk about really quick of what I noticed, what bugged me the most. And it was that the parents that really, really, really let their guard down and really I don't want to say didn't care, because I don't know, maybe they were just truly didn't know. But baby, why you ain't got your eye on your kids? You know what I'm saying? My mama would never. Okay. Make sure you guys go ahead and comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.